Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me okay? Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. It's going to be a regular thing, true crime in the morning. Today we're going to talk about the Johnny Gosch case, another mystery. Hope everybody's having a great day. Sorry, I've been a little distracted this morning. And there might be few interruptions, but that's okay. How many of you are familiar with this case? Good to see you, Tony. Tony says, this is one of the first cases I really deep dived and then led me to Delphi. GP, Hiawatha. I feel like my mic is too loud. Let's turn it down a little bit. Camaro, Jill, Tattoo, Wanda Grunge, Ruth. A lot of twists and turns, indeed. Very strange case. So last night, I kind of put all my notes together. Kind of proud of it. No plagiarism. Don't worry about the spelling, though. So I'll kind of show you how I broke today's live stream into a few different pieces and parts. We covered this in a members live stream not too long ago, and we just didn't really get too deep into the case. Like, we barely scratched the surface. So we were going to do a recap, and a lot of this is notes from that. Okay, so basically we're going to do an overview, and I gathered whatever content I could to kind of back up the information that was found. Is he alive? Suspects? The evidence? The timeline? Conspiracy theories? And the tip information. What's up, Bruce? Ruth says, what happened to Derek Farmer? I think he's just laying low right now. True crime fangirl, what's up? Nope, you're not familiar? Hey, Beth, what's up? Katie. Good to see you, V. The Rockaway says, so it wasn't real Odinism, it was just some Nordic paganist heathenry, plus the prison guards wearing Odin patches. For what, Johnny Gosch? Or for the Delphi case? Good to see you, Donna. Grunge says Mind Shock has a lot on Johnny Gosch. I'll have to take a look. There he is. What's up, Vertigo? Yep, I got a really good interview with her. Actually, two. We're going to take a look at those. And listening to her makes me feel like he could be alive, just living a really troubled life. True crime and other stuff. What's up? All right, we're going to wait a little bit, maybe about another 5 minutes, and then we'll get started. Good to see you guys. How is your Wednesday going? Mine's been productive. Let's just put it that way. Okay, I guess we can start reading this slowly here. Johnny Gosch was a young boy who became well known due to his mysterious disappearance in 1982. He was born on November 12th, 1969, in West Des Moines, Iowa. On September 5th, 1982, Johnny Gosch, who was 12 years old at the time, vanished while delivering newspaper in his neighborhood. Johnny's disappearance attracted significant media attention and prompted a nationwide search effort, but he was never found. His case became high-profile missing persons case and later a prominent case associated with the alleged child abduction and human trafficking. So I might have some photos of that search effort here. Might even be one of the first cases where they put a missing person on a milk carton. Vertigo says, I think Johnny is around, same age as me. Yeah, it's a very strange case. A lot of tentacles, so to speak. Youngster. Van with the skier on the side. That sounds like some 80s stuff right there. Good to see you, Rain Dancer. Ray? Stephanie, yeah, this is a very sad case. Old newspaper clipping dated September 9th, 1982. $5,000 reward. Think this is after they got a private investigator. Because I think there were witnesses. Thanks a lot, V. Hopefully everybody has already hit the like button and is subscribed. Hopefully. Thank you, Vertigo. Julia says, do you think he's still out there alive somewhere? I don't know. Because for me, I always take into consideration the human element. I like the mother. The further we get into the live stream, we're going to talk about certain things that the mother kind of said she had a visit from him and they hung out for an hour. Like things like that are hard to believe. So when I say the human element, did she have some kind of a mental break? Did he really show up? It's just, you don't know if there's a human factor in there. You know, she could believe it 100%. But if you ask her husband at the time, now divorced, he doesn't believe it. He says it could be made up. Yeah, because he wasn't the only boy that got abducted in that area. I think there was 2 more over the next 2 years. Shout out to Indiana. Shannon Sherrill. I don't think I've ever heard that. Shannon Sherrill? What's going on with that case? Shannon Sherrill. 2 R's. Another mystery. Okay. Several years after his disappearance, Johnny's mother, Noreen Gosch, claimed that her son had visited her in secret and revealed that he had been abducted by a human trafficking ring. She also alleged that he was being held captive against his will. Noreen Gosch's claims and her relentless efforts to find her son contributed to widespread awareness of the case. So I might have something for that part. Let's see. Oh, yep, here it is.
Shock for both he and us if he is found alive.
It's 1991. Nebraska prison inmate Paul Benassi comes forward with a startling claim that a network of pedophiles forced him to help abduct Johnny Gosch. Benassi was serving time for sexual assault on a child. West Des Moines police never did question Benassi on their own.
Noreen Gosch was called to testify in his 1999 trial, and that's when she made a bombshell claim of her own, that Johnny visited her in her home 2 years earlier for about an hour.
He told me how he was kidnapped. At first he was so drugged that he didn't know where he was at, but he could then relate some of the names of the people that were around him, that he was able to latch on to names. He told me how they traveled all over the country. They were used for pornography, prostitution, compromising businessmen and politicians sexually.
That kind of sounds like that Jeffrey Epstein Island stuff.
These kids were used in a royal fashion like none of us would ever dream of.
Blackmailing
A West Des Moines police
people.
officer said that Noreen had told similar stories before, only to recant them later. There were never any witnesses that verified her claim.
John Gosch, who...
Yeah, and then it kind of goes on to her husband saying that he disagrees. The Johnny Gosch case remains unsolved and his whereabouts remain unknown. His disappearance has sparked discussions about child abduction, missing children, and child exploitation, and it has had lasting impact on efforts to address these issues, including the establishment of the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children. The case remains one of the most perplexing and disturbing unsolved missing child cases in the United States. Kevin says newspapers using kids to deliver papers is weird. I don't know. It kind of gives them an opportunity to make some cash. Like, he took it very seriously, from what I understand. But also, I believe that was the first day he went without supervision. He was 11. He was 12 at the time. And usually he went with his mom or his dad kind of driving behind him. But he insisted that day that he didn't want anybody with him. They disagreed, and he still woke up quietly and snuck out of the house without waking up his mother or his father. Grunge says Sherry was the first milk carton kid. Thanks. Yeah, Stephanie, it could be like a bad dream or some kind of like hallucination or something. You just never know. Kevin says 5,000 would buy a mansion in 1982, right? You're like, I'm set for life. That's back when you could buy a burger, fries, and a drink for $1.50. Anna says, I think Johnny died soon after being abducted. What makes you think that? There is a story out of Yuma, Arizona we're going to talk about where they believe investigators from Yuma believe he is dead and that he may have been kidnapped originally and actually lived with the family who basically told everybody, oh, we adopted him. Wait till you hear that story. But not yet. You guys are young. Well, and then you have this. Okay, what if she lied? What if she knew for a fact, but she couldn't really explain it? But she knew that he was abducted. She knew that law enforcement wasn't conducting a good investigation. So it was a publicity stunt, kind of like what the defense would do, right? Try to control the narrative. Like, look, the investigation isn't, I need to do something. So she makes up this story, and then within that story, she can create the facts that back up um, the whole sex trafficking and the kidnapping that she actually might be able to prove, but just not yet. But maybe she's becoming impatient. Like, I need to get these facts out there, and I need people to start looking in this direction. Not saying that's what she did, but when I say the human factor, that's the kind of thing I'm referring to. Yeah, and we're going to look at the evidence. But first, is he alive? The fate of Johnny Gosch remains a mystery, and there is no concrete evidence or confirmation regarding his status or whereabouts. His case has been unsolved since his disappearance in 1982. While there have been various claims and theories surrounding his disappearance, there is no verified information to suggest that Johnny Gosch is alive or to provide definitive answers about what happened to him after he went missing. The case remains one of the most enduring unsolved mysteries in the realm of missing children in the United States. Okay, this might be a good time to read this article. Let me see. It may be jumping a little ahead, but let's take a look at this. This is from the Los Angeles Times. All right, just catching up on the chat here, guys. Yeah, we're going to listen to Noreen, is her name. That's Johnny's mother. Yeah, Stephanie, she should have called the FBI if that happened. I don't believe he came back. I don't know. I just don't understand. Did he sneak out? Like, as soon as he came home, like, you think you would have the FBI, the police, you'd have an ambulance, you'd have a doctor. But no, it's like, oh, he just came. I forgot to tell you guys. So yeah, there's something going on with the human factor, right? You never know what people are going to do or what their motivations are or why they do things. Devoted to Mariah. What's up? Says it's sad that kids can't deliver paper without being abducted. Behold, I send you out amidst the wolves, as sheep amidst the wolves. Yeah. Well, we're going to hear a story. This is the most recent interview with Noreen, and she gives a whole lot of new information. She paints a picture. And this is really what it seems like what happened, because when kidnappers, what they do is they stalk, right? They'll have somebody in a car, and then they'll have somebody kind of hiding behind a corner. So all they have to do is stop the car right by an alley or where this other person is hiding, open the door, and the victim will look over to their left at what's going on with the car, and they don't even realize that the kidnapper will be pushing them from out of nowhere, jumping out of the bushes from around a corner, and just push them in the vehicle, and they're gone. That's how they do it. So remember that, ladies. If you have a car behind you, look in front of you. Is there somebody leaning against the wall? Is there somebody, acting like they're on a telephone? Because what's going to happen is that car could pull up right next to you, stop, door swings open, and that person that you think might be somebody that could help you is actually part of the kidnapping operation. All right, let's get into this article here. Body is found. Lost paperboy case reopened. This is from the LA Times archives, dated April 5th, 1990. Yeah, grunge truck. There's a lot of kidnapped kids now. A lot of unsolved murders. All right. The mother of Johnny Gosch, the West Des Moines paperboy who disappeared 7 years ago, said Wednesday she was stunned by the discovery of the body of a young man with a similar name. Des Moines police thought they had a break in the Gosch baffling disappearance when Mexican authorities on Friday pulled the body of a young man from a drainage ditch in northern Mexico and identified him as John E. Gosch. The name was similar to John D. Gosch or Johnny Gosch, right? Who vanished on September 5th, 1982, while delivering Sunday newspapers in Des Moines. But West Des Moines Police Lieutenant Gary Scott said a Tacoma, Washington family named Gosch maintains the body is that of their adopted son. This is where it gets really strange. Police in Yuma, Arizona said John E. Gosch apparently was killed near their city in a drug-related shooting, and the body ended up in Mexico. Yuma authorities said they will send dental records to West Des Moines for comparisons to the missing paperboy. I feel terrible, said Noreen Gosch, the paperboy's mother. This whole coincidence is just unbelievable. It would be such a relief to have it over. I'd rather have the bad news over now instead of later. The coincidences do not stop at the names of the victims. The man found in Mexico was born on October 22nd, 1968, 2 weeks before the missing paperboy's birthday. Now, did he forget over time what his birthday was? Or did they just switch it, by a few weeks? The Gosch family in Washington told Des Moines police they adopted a boy in Oklahoma in 1980 and renamed him John. What? Why would you rename the boy? Noreen Gosch said her son was spotted in Oklahoma a few months after he disappeared. Wow. A boy reportedly begged a woman for help before being dragged off by two men. The woman called police, but they could not locate the youth. In another coincidence, Des Moines police traveled to southern Mexico last week to check out a reported sighting of Eugene Martin, who disappeared from his Des Moines paper route 2 years after John D. Gosch vanished. And he's one of three that disappeared within, I believe, 2 to 3 year time period. So isn't that a crazy story? And here is a little bit about Eugene and the other two boys.
And then over time, you look at it and say, something else is going on here.
That something else is a missing boy who likely isn't a runaway.
I don't know if I lose hope. I just recently decided, I want answers.
Mark Allen vanished 4 years after Johnny Gosch and 2 years after Eugene Martin, another paperboy who disappeared, this time near Southwest 14th Street and Highview Drive.
He's always there. We're talking about him every day anyway.
Broken hearts. That's what you're looking at.
We don't forget him. I don't think we ever will, no matter what happens.
KCCI was there as Eugene Martin's family gathered for their first Christmas without him. They've since been through 36 more.
We kept Christmas presents from him for almost 5-6 years. We just kept them.
Martin was delivering papers on a Sunday morning and, like Gosch, was never seen again.
I want to believe that he's still alive. And whoever's got him, all they have to do is let us know where he's at, and we'll go get him and bring him home. But if he is dead, I still want to know so we can bring him home and give him a decent burial.
That brings up a good point. Grunstruck says if he is alive, he's completely brainwashed. Think about it. He was 12 years old at the time. It would be very easy if they were abusing him. You got Stockholm syndrome. You have threatening of the family. Eventually, he's just going to say, this is my new life. This is who I am now. Eventually, that's just what it is. Brainwashed, for sure.
That closure never came for the Martin family. His sister Kim DeLaca still longs for it.
And it's just like a weird nightmare. You think it's just a bad dream at first, and then you realize down the road it's not a bad dream. It really happened, and he's gone.
Kim was 16 when that weird nightmare of her brother disappearing happened, but she still holds out hope that he...
Just imagine one day you have a brother, and the next day it's like you never had one.
Still out there.
Maybe he would see it if he's still around.
Just gone. Just like that.
Des Moines police say they followed every lead they could.
It fills an entire filing cabinet, a full-size office filing cabinet. Those tips have filled to the brim.
The one question on everyone's mind, are the disappearances of Johnny Gosch, Mark Allen, and Eugene Martin possibly connected?
That's one of the...
So yeah, that was the two other boys. All right, let's go on to suspects. Catch up with the chat. Cheeks, what's up? You can't send them out. You also have to be careful when you keep them in because there's always a wolf in sheep's clothing. Just watch your kids as best you can. Yeah, a lot of these missing people, and even when they find them dumped somewhere, the family is involved. Or somebody that knows the victim, family, friend, neighbor. Yeah. I'm always like, lock the doors. Because people are like, oh, well, I'm packing heat. I don't know, man. I have you ever seen any of these ambush videos? Like, if you're being targeted, it might be too late. Man, those are really scary. Chicago is a really scary place. A lot of these videos I've seen are from Chicago. You got like multiple shooters. Scary. Oh, from that article? Yeah, that article is crazy. Talk about conspiracies. But man, what are the odds? What's up, Frank Meister? Good to see you. Yeah, that's nice of you, speculation. I'm the same way. It's like if they know if they need me, they can call me. Speculation says I lock so many doors I can't get out all the time. wait, are you guys locked out or am I locked in? The calls are coming from inside the house. Yeah, it's scary, CJ. Yeah, it could be a really big coincidence, but I mean, that's really strange. Stacking that pancake with no butter. Hey, what's up, Justice? The dad was pointed out by Paul B, but no one talks about it. What is somebody who picked him up? You never know. You know, he wakes up all pissed off, like, I told you not to go out there alone. You didn't listen. I mean, why? What is he going to do? Beat up his son because he snuck out? All right. Suspects. The Johnny Gosch case has been marked by many twists, turns, and theories, but no suspects have been definitively identified or charged in connection with his disappearance. The case remains unsolved, and for years it has been shrouded in mystery and controversy. Various theories and claims have emerged over the years, including the allegations made by Johnny's mother, Noreen Gosch, that he had visited her in secret and revealed that he had been abducted by a human trafficking ring. However, these claims have not been substantiated, and they have been met with skepticism by law enforcement and other experts. The lack of concrete evidence and the passage of time have made it challenging for investigators to make progress in the case. It remains an open and unsolved mystery, and authorities continue to seek information and leads that may help provide answers regarding Johnny Gosch's disappearance. Despite the absence of concrete suspects, a breakthrough in the case, it has had lasting impact on discussions surrounding missing children, child abduction, child exploitation, and it remains a haunting reminder of the challenges and complexities associated with such cases. I think it's a good time to listen to what Noreen had to say. This interview was literally from like 5 days ago. Link is in the description for this interview.
My son Johnny was a very friendly, kind, upbeat, fun boy. He was so good-hearted and always wanted to help people. He loved having his paper out because that was going to give him the money to save for a dirt bike.
Thanks, Devoted.
We had my older daughter and her fiance to our home the night before for dinner. And Johnny said that he was going to get ready and go to bed because he wanted to be up early and get his paper route done. And then he said, I think I'm old enough to do the route myself, because we always were with him.
All right. So this is the part I was referring to where he insisted on going alone. So is it possible he was being groomed, or is it just a coincidence?
It's dark out there for Sunday morning. His dad always went with him. And I said, no. I said, the agreement was if you got to have a paper route, one of us would be with you on that early morning run because it's pitch dark out there and you're only 11 years old, or you're only 12 years old. And he said, but the other
right,
kids
Tony.
all go by themselves. And I said, that's because they're 16, some of them, or some of them do it with a brother. Well, then he said, okay, all right. So he gave everybody a hug and then he went upstairs. But when he was out on the route the next morning, he did not come in and wake up his dad. He went by himself. Probably because he wanted to prove something.
Yeah, I wonder why he did that.
But he went.
What do you guys think? You think he just wanted to go alone, had nothing to do with his disappearance? Or do you think there's some kind of a connection there? Was he meeting somebody? Something he needed to do something private.
Went through our yard, and the wagon that he was pulling, which he carried the Sunday papers in, it had a squeaky wheel. And a neighbor looked at the clock,
Yeah.
and Johnny was
Could
going
be
through
Redfoot.
his yard at 5:55.
Good to see you.
He came up the sidewalk on Ashworth Road, and partway up to, he only had 1 block to go, and the church on the corner is where they had the paper drop, and all the paper boys picked up their bundles there. A man pulled up alongside Johnny on the street, and he
See, this part is kind of new to me. She kind of describes what really happened.
Alongside Johnny on the street, and he said, "Hey kid, where's such and such a street?" And Johnny didn't stop to talk. The other boy, paper boy, saw him and said Johnny never stopped. He just kept walking. And the man made a U-turn in the middle of the street. And by the time Johnny got to the corner where his bundles of papers were,
ambush,
that man had pulled his car into right next to the curb. He opened up his passenger door and slid over and put his feet out on the curb. He kept asking the kids for directions. Johnny told Mike, the 16-year-old that was there folding his papers, that the man seemed weird. The man was slurring his words, like maybe a speech impediment or maybe he was drunk. I don't know. So Johnny at that point became very nervous, and he said, "I'm scared." He said, "I'm going home." And he had our little dog with him. So Johnny started down the street, leaving Mike alone at the corner. The man got back in his car. He slid back in, shut the door, passenger door, and then started the engine. He then reached up and flicked the dome light 3 times.
That's interesting.
And then
so that might be something that stands out to somebody. He flicked the dome light 3 times. I wonder if it didn't work or if it stayed on. He wanted it to shut back off probably after opening the door.
Sped away. The morning that Johnny was kidnapped and we discovered that he was gone, I called the police right away. It took about 45 minutes for them to arrive to our house.
That's ridiculous.
And we only lived 10 blocks from the police department. And in the meantime, while I was waiting, I called the district manager for the newspaper and got the location and contact information for all of the paper boys that were at the corner that morning. And there was also
2 other teenagers and I believe a father.
Corner. It was an attorney that was picking up his son's papers.
This guy.
So he saw the man and the license plate as well. So I had all of that information, and I had already talked to the families.
What's up, Chopper?
Of the boys that were there that morning. I heard all about the man, the car, what he did, turning around in the middle of the street, then chasing away, and then the man on foot following Johnny.
Yep, the man on foot.
Well, that spelled kidnapping to me. Finally, the police officer came, and we filled out a missing persons report. So I told him what the witnesses had told me, and he said, "Yeah, well, how many more times had your son run away?" I said, "My son never ran away, not once, not today either. Didn't you hear what I said? There's foul play here." And he said, "I'll go check with the other families." Well, a while later, I get a call from one of the other mothers. And she said, "That cop that came over here never even brought in a tablet, a notebook, or a piece of paper to write down anything my son told him that he saw that morning that led to your boy being taken." The witnesses all knew it was a kidnapping.
Yeah, the vehicle, huh?
The attorney knew. He tried to tell the police chief.
Have to find it.
And the police chief ruled that Johnny was a runaway. Therefore, they wouldn't look, because nobody looked for runaways back then. The kidnapping of Johnny Gosch, because of the particular timing, because of the issues with it, with the police and the FBI, and because they waited so long, led to Johnny's case not only changing legislation because I wrote it and got it passed, But secondly, people took another look at this crime and thought, oh my word, those poor people.
Sex slave,
What are
yep.
they doing? They had to hire people
Trafficking.
to look for their son. Society changed totally in the fact that they were looking more for closure. Yeah, we always hear about these cases way over there where a boy or a girl are missing. But when it starts to happen in your neighborhoods that are just peaceful and the parents get that kind of reaction from law enforcement, it's struck a nerve with other parents. They didn't want to be us. The anniversary, 40th anniversary of Johnny's kidnapping is coming up real soon, September 5th. What goes through my mind, and it is daily right now, is how far we've come as a nation as far as protecting children. However, human trafficking is still raging. It generates as much money every year as drug sales.
Wow.
Now that's saying something.
Billions.
If Johnny would possibly hear or see this interview, what I would say to him is, I love you so much, and I am so sorry that this happened in your life. But if you have survived this and have grown to be a man, I am doubly proud of you because you had the odds against you throughout all of this, and you did it. You did it. And I'm still here. I move around a little bit. I'm not, I still live in Des Moines, but you can find me, contact me, and let me know if you're okay. I love you, son.
How crazy would that be if he showed up to visit his mother? Okay, let's go over the evidence here. Let's take a look at Des Moines real quick as well. Have you guys ever been there? I've driven through there a few times. Otis Tool. Never heard of that one. I think this is in the 60s, late 60s, 2000s. This is West Des Moines. All right. The Johnny Gosch case has been marked by a lack of concrete evidence that would definitively explain his disappearance or provide information about his whereabouts. Some of the key pieces of evidence and information related to the case include 1. Disappearance. Johnny Gosch was last seen on September 5th, 1982, while delivering newspapers in West Des Moines, Iowa neighborhood. He vanished without a trace during his early morning paper route. Number 2, eyewitness. A neighbor reported seeing Johnny talking to an unidentified man in a car shortly before his disappearance, but this lead did not result in any significant breakthroughs in the case. 3, anonymous photos. In the years following Johnny's disappearance, his mother Noreen Gosch claimed to have received anonymous photographs in the mail that appeared to show Johnny in captivity. These photos have been a subject of controversy and debate, with some experts questioning their authenticity. And you can find those on Google. Just type in Johnny Gosch conspiracy and they'll pop up. But I don't know if they'll affect the algorithm for the morning true crime show here. Number 5, lack of physical evidence. Despite extensive investigations, searches, and media attention, there has been a notable absence of physical evidence, such as Johnny's remains, that could provide clarity about his fate. The absence of concrete evidence and the passage of time have made it difficult to solve the case. While there have been various theories and claims, no suspects have been definitively identified or charged in connection with Johnny Gosch's disappearance. The case remains open, and authorities continue to seek information and leads from the public in hopes of finding answers. So basically, this is what was left. You had the dog that he was with, ran all the way home. His newspapers were scattered, and there was his wagon. And I believe he was sitting in front of a church. All right, let's take a look at the timeline. Okay, so September 5th, 1982, Johnny Gosch, who was 12 years old at the time, disappears while delivering newspapers in West Des Moines, Iowa. He vanishes during his early morning paper route. The 1980s, various investigations and searches are conducted to locate Johnny, but no significant leads or breakthroughs occur. Years following his disappearance, Johnny's mother, Noreen Gosch, claims to have received anonymous photographs in the mail that she believes show her son in captivity. These photos have been subject to controversy and debate. Early 1990s, Noreen Gosch alleges that Johnny visited her in secret as an adult and provided details of his alleged abduction, human trafficking, and captivity. These claims have not been independently verified, and are met with skepticism by law enforcement and experts. Ongoing. Despite extensive investigations, searches, and media attention, there has been no concrete evidence or leads that definitively explain Johnny Gosch's disappearance or provide information about his whereabouts. Present day, the case of Johnny Gosch remains open and unsolved. It continues to be one of the most enduring and perplexing missing children cases in the United States. This timeline highlights critical events surrounding Johnny Gosch's disappearance and the subsequent effort to find answers, which have so far been elusive. The case remains open and his fate remains a mystery. All right. So I think this is the final part of today's live stream, the conspiracy theories. So before we get into that, let me see if I have any other little quick media clips here. I think I have a good one relating to the Evansdale double homicide. Let's take a look. I think right before they discovered the bodies, it seems, which is a whole nother nightmare and a mystery. But I think that one is much more solvable. And I agree with Drew when he says that he believes that the kidnappers and the murderers still live in Evansdale. I'll look later. Yeah, I was going to pull them up, but I was like, nah. Especially all this talk about the Delphi crime scene. Like, you kind of need to take a break here and there, you know? Brain Dancer's skeptical. Willow says, I skipped school with another girl in 8th grade, walked around town. A guy in a car stopped and asked us if we needed a ride. We said no. He asked us if we were supposed to be in school. We just ran. Yeah, that's what you should have done. Because you don't know where the other guy is, right? You don't know where the other man is. There's not always, multiple attackers, but a lot of times there are. What's up, Freckled? Willow says, I slightly remember the car he was in. Describe it as a baby blue boxy 4-door. It's a good way to put it. CJ says, I agree, living in Evansdale. Yeah, especially after seeing what happened with Charlotte Cena and how close the kidnapper was. It makes you wonder a lot of these missing people. And that guy, he kind of, there was a home in the front where his mother stayed, and all he did was drive around her home, and his trailer was behind there, hidden, right? So imagine all of these missing kids could be in a similar situation. So I think it would be good for investigators to find all of these locations. I think they would call them what, subdwellings? Like you have a room in the back, a sublet, maybe, where you're renting or where you have other people claiming a separate address. I don't know how you could track that, but I think it's important for investigators to look at those places maybe first. Anywhere where you can pull in and secretly take a kidnapped victim into your home and not be seen. And I guess all you really need is a garage, right? All right, we're caught up on the chat. So this is pretty interesting. This section's titled Conspiracy Theories. The disappearance of Johnny Gosch has generated several conspiracy theories and claims over the years, some of which have been widely circulated, particularly on the internet. It's important to note that these theories are not supported by concrete evidence, have not been substantiated by law enforcement or credible authorities. Some of the more prominent conspiracy theories and claims associated with Johnny Gosch case include human trafficking and abduction. Noreen Gosch, Johnny's mother, has consequently claimed that Johnny was abducted by a human trafficking ring and was held captive against his will. She has alleged that he visited her secretly and an adult but was unable to escape. This theory was not been independently verified. Franklin cover-up. Some conspiracy theories tie Johnny's disappearance to a so-called Franklin cover-up scandal, which was a series of allegations and investigations into child abuse and exploitation in Nebraska. These claims suggest a broader network of powerful individuals involved in child trafficking and exploitation, with Johnny's case seen as connected to it. Government involvement. Certain conspiracy theories suggest that government agencies such as the FBI or CIA may have been involved in Johnny's disappearance due to his purported knowledge of sensitive information. These claims lack concrete evidence. Witnesses in hiding. Some theories propose that Johnny may be alive but in hiding, fearing for his life due to knowledge of criminal activities. These theories often point to alleged sightings or interviews with individuals claiming to be Johnny. Underground pedophile rings. Some conspiracy theories link Johnny's disappearance to underground pedophile rings and secret societies involved in child exploitation. These claims often lack credible supporting evidence. It's important to approach these conspiracy theories with caution, as they are often based on speculation, rumors, and unverified claims. The case of Johnny Gosch remains unsolved, and the lack of concrete evidence has led to a wide range of speculative theories. However, law enforcement agencies continue to treat this case as an open investigation and seek credible information and leads to provide answers regarding the disappearance. And here is the tip line, I believe. Okay, it's going to let me open the link. And this, I believe this is in the description as well. Pull it up on the screen for you guys. So this is age progression. It says here he'd be 53 years of age, possibly 140 pounds, 5'7", white man, brown hair, blue eyes. If you recognize this missing person, do not take any action yourself. Get as much information as you can. License, number of a vehicle, exact location of sighting, activities, individual involved in, and then call the number listed above. Well, actually, it's below. It says here 515-725-6036. What if I know something about this case? If you have any information regarding the disappearance of this individual, please contact the Missing Persons Information Clearinghouse, Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation. That number again, 515-725-6036. All right, guys. That will conclude today's True Crime in the Morning. Thanks for hanging out. If you could, please hit the like button. And if you're part of the replay crew, please subscribe to the channel. Consider becoming a member. We do have a members live scheduled later today, but it might be interrupted. We might have a special interview with somebody. So I'll keep you guys updated. Otherwise, I'll communicate with you through the members only community page. Woodhouse? No. No. Thank you, True Crime and Other Stuff. Thanks for participating in the chat. Shout out to all of you guys. Chantel, I was 22 when it happened. Never, ever left my mind. I can hardly imagine how Noreen could manage to be so composed. Yeah, she believes he's still living and had a really rough life, and that could be the case. It does happen. Sex trafficking is a real thing. It plagues our society, and it's a vast enterprise is what it is. So be careful out there. Remember, behold, I send you out as sheep amidst the wolves. Take care, everybody.